Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an Airbus A330 pilot and welcome back to our IndyBuild Airbus A350-900. Today we're going to do the Qatar Airways Flight 55 from Doha to Nice, which is about a 6-hour run through Iraq, Turkey, Bulgaria, eventually into the Mediterranean, across Italy and then into France. So, without any further ado, follow me inside our Airbus A350 and then we can start to set up for today's flight. Just absolutely love the modeling over here. Well, and then let's take a seat. So the airplane is already powered by engineering. We also have the air conditioning unit connected to the aircraft, and then I'd say we can just go ahead and start our processes here. So we'll start with the catering services, which are now requested, and then let's have a look into our flight. So A350-900 on the Alpha 7 Alpha Mike Golf, which is our airplane down here, and then we can have a look into the flight plan. So starting right up here, let's go down to the charts. It would be lovely if we could zoom that one in a bit, but I suppose this will have to do. Okay, so that's our route as described, and then looking into the significant weather chart. We're crossing a jet stream in 370 over there, and apart from that, it's completely beautiful weather conditions all along the flight. Then let's go ahead and have a look into the local airport weather. And our departure in Doha has clear skies, runway 30 in use, 29 degrees, and the arrival into Nice. At the moment it's runway 04 that they've got in use, but it is going to shift throughout the afternoon, so it might very well shift to runway 22 during our flight. We'll have to keep a good eye on that so that we can prepare for the correct runway. Apart from that, our alternate in Lyon has a couple of patches of fog and bad visibility during the morning, but that is going to improve vastly in the course of the noon so that we have good weather conditions by the time we arrive. Finally, let's have a look into our flight plan itself. So it's flight plan edition number 2, and we're departing at 5:50, arriving at 12:06, which is 9 minutes ahead of schedule. We are at a pretty low weight today, 240 passengers and just a few tons of cargo. Cruising in flight level 400 straight away and for the entire flight. Now with all of that in mind, let's go down into the fuel section and make a decision on the fuel quantity required. And we've got 39.2 as minimum plus 600 kilos taxi. Let's round that up to 40 tons of fuel and then we should be more than good to go. So let's go right down into the load sheet menu and we can go ahead and load our airplane up over here. So we'll first of all, well, I wanted to set the 0 fuel weight, stupid thing doesn't let me. Instead it insists that we do everything with GSX. I'm not a huge fan of that. Absolutely not a huge fan of that. But okay, I suppose then we've got no choice, so let's go for the load with GSX buttons down there. And give me my 40 tons. You gotta be kidding me again. Did anyone notice that whenever GSX is involved there are things bugging around? No further comment on that, huh? Alright, anyway, GSX menu, catering is still in progress. As soon as they are finished, we can start with the boarding, or I'll tell you what, we can actually start pre-boarding now already. Refueling is also still to be commenced, so might as well go for the... Okay, fueling services are requested, boarding is requested. Well, then that's everything we can do down here for the time being. So getting into our aircraft then, let's ensure that we're safe for operations. That's engine master levers off, start selector norm, thrust levers idle, landing gear lever down, the wipers are off, and, well, our airplane is powered so we don't have to bother with the batteries. ADIRS 1, 2 and 3 coming online, APU fire test is looking good, however we don't need the APU just yet. Alright then, give me my keyboard please, like that, then we can have an initial look into the flight plan. A350-900 and enough database is up to date. We can delete any of those stored items down there. check and clear the scratch pad, and then we can do a company flight plan request down there. And while that's in progress, move over to our terminal charts, Doha, search, and we need the aerodrome ground chart, which is this one. Parking down here, that's APC main terminal, so let's pin that one. And then let's move down to the standard instrument departures off runway 34 left. I think it's this one, or is it? While that's loading, let's have a look into the flight plan. Expecting the 2-loop to Echo departure. No, that's not on here. Then probably that one down at the bottom. 2-loop 1 whiskey. No, that's not ours either. They plan 3-4 right. Okay, well that might be the reason. Okay, then we'll see what ATC is going to give us, whether it's going to be 3-4 left or 3-4 right. Both is fine with me. Now boarding has commenced. Let's make sure we got the signs. Seatbelt signs remain off for the time being. Okay, now let's see. Flight plan has arrived and we can insert it. Here it is, and then let's move down to the ATC com page where we cross-check. We will be using say intentions as ATC station, ADSC is armed, then let's go into the message record and that is erased, and D8 is update all. So QNH 1016. And then let's go for here. So synchronize the FMS, please. No data, okay. Well, in that case, it's going to be Doha. 3-4 right is the planned runway at the moment. And for the weather, we've got 310 at 12:29, 1016. Are they not intercepting the commands? Okay, dry runway, anti-ice off, and the takeoff weight. We have anything in here? Nothing useful, huh? Okay, well, in that case, let's see, OFP 204.1. Let's calculate 205, then we should be good. So 205.0, air conditioning off, and the rest looks good. Then compute. We can take off, 69 degrees of flex temperature, speeds are looking good. Alright, so that's our OAS setup completed. Now takeoff calculation is done, aircraft's technical acceptance. Let's have a look at the dispatch page, which is still not simulated. Then we can recall all, press and hold there for a few seconds. And there's nothing in here, that's okay. Status page, likewise, nothing in here. Alright, so that's that. We do have sufficient oxygen, rain repellent level is normal. Going down into the hydraulics then, which are full, and finally the engine. For that we do need to power up our FADEC. Oil quantity is good for the flight. Okay, lovely. So that's our preliminary pre-flight procedure complete. Then let's go right into the actual pre-flight procedures. You guys are fairly familiar with those, so I'm not going to comment on everything that I'm doing over here. Refueling still needs to be done, so the pumps are going to remain off. We don't need any temperature in the forward hold. CVR test is good. Main panel is looking good down here, and then we do want VHF 1, VHF 2, and also the interphone, please. And for the time being, transmit on there. Frequencies, let's see. So give me that ground chart, please. Delivery 12085, I don't think we'll need that, so ground 12122, or 120225. Goes active, and VHF 2 is gonna get 1215. Also active, and that's it. Okay, nothing on the HF radios, and the squawk machine shows 2000. The center panel is set. We can already select the TCAS into above, and you may listen to some ATC as well. Alright, you must record the PAs down there, so we'll tune that up and select the transponder on here. Okay, cool. Then let's move on to the FMS. So we are the Qatari 55 from Doha to Nice, alternate Lyon, flight level 400. Now give me that operational flight plan, please. Outside temperature minus 58, tropopause in about 52,000. So we'll go for minus 58 and the tropopause in 52,000. Enter. Cost NX30 is looking good, so IRSs are aligning. Now, for our departure, runway, probably going to be 3-4 right. And our sit is then going to be the Tulip to Echo departure. Alright, insert that, and for arrival into Nice for the time being, we're planning on runway 4 left with an ILS Zulu approach, and the arrival is the Carat 7 Romeo. Here it is, and we need any transition over there? I think we might. Carat Kisak onto Neras. Do we have a Neras transition? Yes, we do. Alright, cool, and insert. Now for the flight plan info, let's go to the fix info, and that's gonna be Nice. No, actually it's Doha, runway 34 right. Runway track will be 336, and then we might as well quickly create the engine out waypoint. So add a new waypoint, that's gonna be Doha X4, based on Doha 34 right, bearing 336 and distance 25 miles. Alright, store that, and then back to the flight plan and fix info, fix 2, that's going to be Doha X4. Okay, that's looking good so far. Then let's go into the step climbs, which we practically don't need. We'll be cruising a level 400 all time long here. Enough 8s, nothing hard tuned. Fuel and loads. So, zero fuel weight is 165. Block fuel will be 40 tons. And for the fuel figures, alternate 4.2. Well, starting with the reserves, which are 1. Then our alternate is 4.2 and the final is 2.2. Okay, that's looking good so far. Then let's return and go to the takeoff performance. And we can simply use this, send to FMS, and confirm takeoff data. That's all looking good. Engine out acceleration 1500. Position monitor Doha 34 right. And then for the secondary flight plan, SEC1, import, active, flight plan. So, next waypoint will be Doha X4. We can pick up a holding over there. Lag time will be 1 minute. Return, and then new destination, back to Doha, where we're going to arrive with an ILS approach onto runway 34 right. And that's all looking good. Wonderful. So, surveillance page is all clear as well, and with that we are done with our FMS setup. Now, let's go ahead and cross-check that our SID is actually correct. And I tell you what, before we do that, let's go ahead and request our IFR clearance. So this is ATIS information India up here. So, request clearance departure. We're at gate 221 and we have ATIS information India, and all of that looks good. Transfer to mailbox, And request PDC, Qatari 55, 359 to Nice at Doha, stand 2 to 1, Atis India, sent. So, for today's air traffic control, we are using this channel's sponsor, Say Intentions AI. If you're looking for an ATC add-on that can not just do your standard IFR A to B flight, but also other things like VFR, data link, and even a cabin crew simulation, then Say Intentions may just about be for you. Check them out using the link in the pinned comment or the video description below. And if you like what you're about to see, then do pay them a visit. A free 24-hour demo trial is available for everyone. Okay, so request being processed, stand by. If no response, in 2 minutes request new flight and app. Alright, close, thank you. Let's see if we can find the runway 34 right departures already. Tulip to Echo, here it is. Okay, so to check that one, we are going to proceed. Straight ahead toward AdBib above 500, whichever is later. Right turn to Revan above 2500. Dembo below 4000. Then via Debil to Alnak. Patom, and that restrictions by ATC only, so we don't need to enter it. However, it is already there. And then on towards Tulip above 180 is also there. And if we quickly scroll through this, then that looks just like the chart. Alright, and here is our clearance. Clear to Nice, Tulip to Echo departure, maintain 4000, departure 119725, squawk 3655, expect runway 34 right. And in the FMS we got runway 34 right, Tulip to Echo, maintain altitude 4000, like that. Departure 119.725. That's interesting. Stuck on data. Huh. Very interesting. Well, then I'm going to set it over here in the standby. That's fine. Okay, so squawk 3655. And that is wonderful. So, first of all, print. And then Wilco and send. Okay, beautiful. So, clearance is checked and printed. That's all we need down here. Perfect. Refueling is in progress. Even though I have a feeling that that's going to take an enormous amount of time here. So yeah, that's definitely going to be some delay here, because the truck just arrived so late. But okay, for the time being, we are just going to continue here. What's the status of our boarding? Probably completed by now. Yeah, boarding completed. And they need 8 minutes. Okay, that's fine. Alright, cool. So while we're waiting for all the boarding to complete, let's go ahead and start our departure briefing. Departing Doha, runway 34 right, Tulip to Echo departure, initial climb 4000, and that's the safe altitude here as well. Extra fuel and time, probably not getting calculated just yet. Nope, but we basically took 0. Alright, no hotspots for our taxi routing. It is going to be a fairly long taxi, so we can consider doing single engine taxi out to save a little bit of fuel over there. Apart from that, stop margin for the rejected takeoff should be more than plenty. And the engine outset is straight ahead to the Doha X4 point, which is located just over here. Now for our immediate return, we're very close to the maximum landing weight actually, so that's not going to be any problem. Both runways are more than long enough. 3-4 right is programmed in the secondary flight plan. We've got nothing special, nothing non-standard. Those restrictions here should be no problems whatsoever, and I've got no threats for today's departure. Anything from your side? No? Okay, perfect. So that's our departure briefing complete. Then let's say hello to our passengers. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning from the flight deck. This is your captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel. In the name of Qatar Airways, I would like to welcome you aboard our Airbus A350 on our flight to Nice. Today's flight time will be approximately 6 hours. We're expecting a smooth ride at an altitude of 12,000 meters. We will get back to you with the latest weather when we start the approach into Nice. For the time being, we are still refueling the aircraft, which is going to take us some 10 minutes. So we do ask for your patience for that. As soon as the aircraft is refueled, we will make our way towards Nice and start the engines, taxi out runway 34 right, departing to the north. Thank you very much for your attention. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us. Alright, so that's done. We gotta wait for the checklist, but I think since we already have our final load and are just refueling, we can do the final takeoff performance here as well. So let's have a look down at the ground chart and see if there's any intersection we could usefully take. Provided that the chart loads, here it is. So 3-4 right, Alpha 2, 4,266. Heck, Alpha 3 would be possible at 3,077. Let's calculate that. And we still get the same performance figures. I'm not surprised. Well, I'll just send that once again, just to be on the safe side here. And confirm. Okay, so that's what we're already familiar with. Don't ask me why it says takeoff weight 0. The figures should be safe. We'll just keep it at that. Alright, cool. So let's finish up our load sheets. We've got a zero fuel CG of 29.3. And 240 passengers, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 240. Alright. So far so good. Then we're just waiting for the refueling process to complete. And I'll be right back with you as soon as that is done. Alright, refueling is completed. We are now running 10 minutes behind schedule, but yep, that is something that could absolutely happen in the real world as well. So let's go ahead and start that APU, turn on the fasten seatbelts and the fuel pumps. And then we can already tell GSX to prepare for pushback and departure down here. And while that is in progress, let's quickly check. Fuel reads 39,800 and that's balanced. Very good. Alright then. So, cockpit preparation checklist please. Gear pits and covers removed. Fuel quantity 39,800 kilograms, barrel RAV, QNH 1016. Cockpit preparation checklist complete. Okay, excellent. So we are basically done with everything. Let's quickly update the fuel down here. So that's now 39.8, which leaves the rest unchanged. Reserve should stay at 1, thank you. Alright, and that gives us a whopping 100 kilos extra fuel. Alright, fine with that, then let's go ahead and call for our pushback clearance.
Tower, Qatari 68 Quebec.
Qatari 55 ready to taxi.
Okay, APU is available.
Qatari 55, runway 34 right taxi via Whiskey Juliet Sierra Charlie Alpha.
So, ground equipment removed.
Runway 34 right taxi via Whiskey Juliet Sierra Charlie Alpha Qatari 55.
How much ground? Qatari 055 heavy. Request pushback and startup.
Qatari 71 Papa ready to taxi.
Qatari 71 Papa, runway 34 right taxi via November Sierra Charlie Alpha.
Runway 34 right taxi via November Sierra Charlie Alpha Qatari 71 Papa.
Qatari 055, pushback and startup approved. Face west.
Pushback and startup approved facing west. Qatari 055. Ground from flight deck. Pushback and startup approved facing west, and the parking brake is now released. Alright, start the pushback and you stand by for the engines, please. Roger. Okay then. As soon as we clear the road, we can commence engine startup, and then we're on our way. Pushing with 10 minutes delay, we should hopefully be able to make up for that in flight.
Qatari 9er Yankee contact tower on 118.025.
Alright, FADEC is powered, gotta wait for 10 seconds.
Arabia 41, give way to the Qatari 777.
Engine 1 start.
We'll give way to the Qatari 777 Arabia 41. Qatari 34 Mike ready for pushback.
Qatari 34 Mike, clear it for push and start.
Pushback and start approved. Qatari 34 Mike.
Clear for push and start. Iran Air 3511, taxi to parking via Lima 6 Kilo Lima 2, Mike 4 Papa 6 Sierra 4.
That's a pretty long pushback here. You may stop, my friends, we'll have to taxi back all the way anyway. So, engine 1 is avail and the pushback is completed. Then let's do the single engine taxi out guideline. So engine 1 is started, cross bleed open. Apply the after start normal procedure, but the APU can be kept running. In that case, switch the APU bleed to off.
Mike, runway 34 right taxi via Sierra, Sierra 1 hold short of
Okay.
runway 34 left, then Sierra Charlie Alpha.
Runway 34 right
So that stuff's done, APU is kept running. Good.
Then Sierra Charlie, Alpha Qatari 34 Mike.
Okay, so anticipate the warm-up time for the remaining engine, and that's the single engine taxi out guideline complete until the engine starts. So here's the pushback tuck, and he's got a tow bar with him.
Contact tower on 118.025.
Qatari 055, request taxi. I'm just requesting it now because it seems rather busy.
Qatari 055, runway 34 right, taxi via Whiskey 4, Juliet Sierra Charlie Alpha.
Runway 34 right, taxi via Delta Victor Alpha Qatari 816.
Qatari 055, taxi runway 34 right via Echo 4, Juliet Sierra Charlie Alpha. Okay, so that's Whiskey 4, Juliet, Sierra, Charlie, and that one becomes Alpha. Okay. So, clear on the left side, clear on the right side. There's the ramp agent, and he's holding a pin. Parking brake released. Let's go. It should taxi quite a bit better than this at this weight. Okay, brake check. Brake's okay. Alright then, since this is going to be a fairly long taxi, let's fast forward this a bit and then I see you all on the other side. Alright guys, looks like we've really caught one of those days here. We're like number 10 for the departure for how long now? And just look at that. Feels like we're in JFK, but what is that A320 doing? Honestly, it feels like we're in JFK over here, but they're just not getting any aircraft out. So I'll tell you what we're gonna do here. We'll start the second engine, and once that is running, we'll just disable the AI traffic so that we can actually depart. I mean, look at this. It's like almost 40 minutes since our pushback here. So let's go ahead. Engine 2 start. That's gonna be APU bleed on. Engine thrust lever number 2 idle. Engine mode selector ignition start. And we'll wait for the FADEC to energize. Like that. Timer 10 seconds. And as soon as those are over, we can commence engine 2 start. So basically now. So number 2 is coming. In the meantime, I'll go into the same tension setting here and disable that traffic. That was only at level 5 out of 11, so that just gives you an idea of how much traffic it could potentially generate here.
Runway 34 right taxi via Juliet Sierra Charlie Alpha Qatari 8466.
Alright, so disabled the traffic, then I am going to re-enable it now. That way we are going to have aircraft en route, but just not any of those annoying queues at the holding point here, since the traffic is going to respawn. Alright, here we go. Engine number 2 is available. Then, thrust bleed back to auto, APU as required off, after start checklist accomplish. And for that we can just pull it up down here. Oh, looks like we forgot the before start checklist. Okay, that happens. That's why you have two pilots in the real world. So slides around anyway, good. So parking brake is off, slides on, no switch disconnect memo is checked. And then we can do the after start checklist as well, please. Oh yeah, A350 has the flight controls in here. And interestingly enough, the page doesn't show up automatically. Alright, looks like we might have to stop at the holding point anyway.
Qatari 055, contact tower on 118.025, so long.
118.025, Qatari 055, so long. So, flight controls, flight controls, flight controls. Here they are. Full up, full down, neutral. Full left, full right, neutral rudder, full left, full right, and neutral. Alright, after start checklist, anti-ice off, flight controls checked, ground clearance received, after start checklist complete. So then, we can do the taxi flow. And that is looking good. Taxi checklist, please. So, flaps. Config 1+F, radar on, taxi checklist complete. Hamad Tower, Qatari 055 Heavy, ready for departure.
Qatari 055 Heavy, Hamad Tower, say again please.
Qatari 055 ready for departure. Come on, you gotta be able to understand that, ATC. So the approach area seems clear.
Heavy, runway 34 right, winds 310 at 12, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 34 right, cleared for takeoff, Qatari 055. Cabin crew, prepare for departure, please.
Hamad Tower, Express India 375, established on the RNAV runway 34 left.
Lineup checklist.
Express India 375,
Cabin
Roger.
secured, takeoff runway 34 right, full length, packs 1 and 2, off, lineup checklist complete. Are you ready? Well then, we'll make it a rolling takeoff. Takeoff. Manflex 69 SRS runway auto thrust blue. Thrust set. .100 knots, checked.
Lead 1.
Rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. Nav, checked. Autopilot 1.
Qatari 055, contact departure on 119.725.
119.725, Qatari 055 heavy. Thrust decline, climb, auto thrust. Flap 0. Speed checked. Flaps 0. Departure, good morning, Qatari 055 heavy, passing 1,800, climbing 4,000.
Qatari 055 RNAV, Doha departure, radar contact, climb via the set to flight level 180.
Climb via SID, flight level 180, Qatari 055 heavy.
Qatari 3 Papa contact, UAE center on 128.
Okay, set climb via SID, so for now that's Alt 4000 Magenta.
128.125, Qatari 3 Papa.
So the 4000 below is at Dembo. And that's pack 2, okay. That's fair enough. Pack 2 is on. Qatari 055. Any chance for an unrestricted climb? Speed all constraints dark, climb blue.
Qatari 055, climb flight level 400.
Qatari 055, climbing flight level 400. Okay, I just take that as climb now. Thrust declimb, open climb, alt cruise 40,000 blue. So acceleration flow pattern, flaps up, spoilers retracted, landing gear up, and the packs are on. Okay, so nice 2,500 feet a minute over here. Your automatic derate is doing an awesome job. I mean, look at that. It's really not running at a very high power because we are pretty light. And we are still getting 2,000 feet a minute out of the plane. That's just amazing. Really protecting the engines very well. Okay, let's ask the important question. 12:39, 7.7. Schedule is 12:15. Yeah, let's see if there's anything we can do about this. Cost NX 150.
Qatari 629er, contact Hamad Tower on 118.025.
Barely any difference. Okay.
118.025.
Well, so be it. Then we are late. We've done everything we could. We've absolutely done everything we could. Alright. So optimum is 398, maximum 414, then flight level 400 is not gonna be a problem. Engine out in case we need it, 250 maximum, we can already remember that. Well, and that's really everything we need for the moment, isn't it? I certainly would think so. So, about to approach flight level 100. Lights off, we'll wait with the signs until the pitch is steady below 7. Well, it should be now, so... Signs auto, performance is checked, and the nav aids are cleared. Alright, perfect. Then let's just get a copy of the secondary again. Sec 2, import active. And that's all I got. So for now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us, and then I see you all on the arrival in Tunis.
055 heavy.
Alright, that sounds good. So it is runway 22 indeed. They have switched the runways. And that means we are going to fly the rather spectacular RMP Delta approach with the circling right around the bay over here. So let's go ahead and have a look into the arrivals so that we can figure out what exactly we are going to do. Now, we are currently inbound to KSAC and we will follow the KSAC Romeo arrivals. And obviously that's not going to be on the west chart. So, charts north, south, south.
Delta 29, contact Marseille, control on 127.905.
Okay, so, Carrot 7 Romeo is inbound to KSAC, Mike November 800, and then to Neras. And we are already inbound KSAC, then Mike November 800, and thereafter Neras. Now thereafter is where the real fun is going to start. So, let's have a look into the initial, which is just Neras heading 270 outbound. And now let's have a look at the RMP Delta approach. So starting from Sotax towards Nanax. Extend speed brake, I don't quite see that necessary. So we start from Sotax to Nanax, and then we go on to
055 heavy, direct near ass. Descend altitude 3000 until established, cleared for the RNAV runway 22 right approach, Nero 1 transition.
Direct near ass. Descend altitude 3000 until established. Cleared for the RNAV runway 22 right approach. Nero 1 transition. Qatari 055.
Did our first officer just read that waypoint back by calling it near ass? She know why she went to the toilet. Alright, nonetheless I made that Nanax instead. So we're now inbound to a Nanax for the approach. Let's go ahead and use a little bit of speed brake here to get our airplane to slow down. And then let's start with the approach briefing, please. And before we do that, real quick, light, signs, EFIS. We don't need the LS buttons today. We do, however, need the velocity vectors. And that's it. Also set Q and H, please. Let's see, 1019R. That's 1019 cross-check, passing 9.2 now. Checked. Alright, and we're back on speed. Nice. So, speed brake's going back in. So, for the approach, we're going to fly the RNAV Delta approach runway 2 to right in Nice, and that's with a minimum of 1260, MSA 3.1 in the approach area, and the go-around is a left turnout with a couple of RNAV points climbing altitude 3000. Extra fuel and time, let's have a look. 3 minutes. Now the approach is going to be flight director guided until the missed approach point, which is Mike November 22 Delta. Thereafter flight director's off and bird on. Now we do have a circling chart for the prescribed tracks, which is that one down here. If it may please open, thank you. Okay, so we descend down to 1,000 feet, maximum 180 knots in the turn to the final, established on runway 2 to right. The glide slope is a 3.2 degree poppy, and, well, the minimum is 1260, as we have already talked about. Now, we are going to use flaps config 3, maximum reverse, auto brake, BTV, to vacate the runway to the right-hand side, and a small correction, it's not going to be maximum, it's going to be idle reverse. Vacate the runway to the right-hand side, and then we are parking, where is it? Here it is. Parking 2 Bravo at Terminal 1. Okay, and that's all I got for the time being. So there is nothing special, nothing non-standard threats for the arrival. Certainly the terrain, weather really isn't one, we can see everything, so let's bring the terrain display up on both sides here. Any questions or suggestions on the briefing? No? Alright, wonderful. So that's our approach briefing complete. Then let's do the approach checklist, please. So, Barrow ref, QNH 1019, our minimum is Barrow 1260, runway condition, dry, auto brake, BTV, approach checklist complete. I like it when things are this easy. So we haven't flown an approach like this in a little while with a wide body, so I'm definitely looking forward to doing this. And yes, you may say that I might have picked this destination because I hoped for this to happen, but since we've been disappointed with runway selection a few times earlier, I thought, well, better not say anything until it's confirmed that we're really going onto runway 22. And well, here we are, going onto runway 22. Winds are 300 at 6, so it's mostly crosswind. I could well imagine that they might still be using runway 04 in the real world, because it's only minor tailwind component here. But I'm not gonna complain, runway 22 is most definitely the more enjoyable one to fly into. That plane just looks fantastic, doesn't it? I mean, many planes do, but this one especially. Alright, so Qatari 055, are we cleared for the approach? Just want to reassure myself here. I think he cleared us for the approach, but if you don't remember, you better ask. By the way, I will let our first officer handle most of the communications here, because the final is going to be rather busy and I don't want to have to handle all of that myself on final here. Now the only question, did he even listen? Qatari 055, please confirm, are we cleared for the approach?
Qatari 055 Heavy, cleared for the RNAV runway 22 right approach, carry 7 Romeo transition. Qatari 055, contact Nice Tower on 118.7.
Okay, so we are cleared for the approach.
Right approach.
Good, so Narak, on Nanax, maximum 200 knots and above 3000, we got that. We will be using our standard... We will be using a standard descent mode here, down all the way until 1260. So let's set 1300. And then the descent point is in 3000. Here's the table I've been looking for. Okay, so flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1.
Runway 055 Heavy, Nice Tower, roger. Continue approach on runway 22 right.
So, track FPA, minus 3 degrees. Because otherwise we just have no vertical guidance available here. And I think we might need a little bit more initially. Let's use 4. We can't use final approach mode because that would bring us onto the extended final here with FLS.
1 Kilo Echo established on the RNAV Delta runway 22 right.
1 Kilo Echo, roger.
So, overhead Fox November 22 Delta, altitude 3160 means we're 150 high. Interestingly enough, that waypoint didn't sequence. Now here's something wrong. Mike November 22 Delta should be next. Well, we gotta do it this way. Delete the from waypoint. And insert. What is it doing?
2,500.
No, we are not 2.5 left. Okay, thank you, I've seen enough. Manual flight, flight directors off. Okay, so we are 3 miles inbound. That should be 2,220, so we can level off over here. So 2 miles should be 1,900.
2,000.
Alright, gear down. Flaps 2.
Eurowings to 64 Juliet, cross runway 22 right. Crossing 22 right, Eurowings 64
Okay,
Juliet.
1 mile should be at 1,580. And we're now at 1 mile and slightly high, but the runway is in sight, won't be a problem. Okay, set go around altitudes. 3,000 set. And flaps 3. Speed check, flaps 3. So we're leaving the Mike November 22 Delta. That means we can change onto the circling with prescribed tracks chart.
100 above.
Checked. Yeah, runway's in sight now. Okay, landing checklist.
768, cross runway 22 right.
Continue. Landing checklist complete.
Crossing 22 right, 768.
Okay, so down to 1,000 as suggested by the chart.
1,000.
Eurowings 64 Juliet, holding short 2
Check.
left, ready for departure. Eurowings 64 Juliet, winds 300.
So is that final
runway 22
check?
left,
2,
cleared for takeoff.
2, 3.
Cleared for takeoff, 22 left, Eurowings 64 Juliet.
Okay, so that's the puppy. Currently 3 reds. Now this is looking quite nice, isn't it? Alright, there's the puppy. Still 3 reds. Alright, here we go. That's looking good.
$500.
Qatari 055 heavy, East Tower, winds 300 at 6, runway 22 right, cleared to land.
300.
Cleared to land, runway 22 right.
So that
Qatar
gentleman is
055
hopefully going to hold short down there. Of course he's not.
100.
No comment. We'll pretend we haven't seen him.
Sync rate.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Why is that thing calling sync
5.
rate? There is no sync rate here. Spoilers! Looks like my reversers aren't working.
Auto brake off.
Nope, they're not. Okay, manual brakes. Well, who needs brake lubricate anyway, when you can do that manually, huh?
Qatari 055, welcome to Nice. Contact ground on 121.705.
Switching to ground on 121.705. Qatari 055.
So, welcome to Nice. Lovely 21 degrees here.
Qatari 055, cleared of runway 22 right, ready to taxi to the gate. Good afternoon.
Qatari 055 is ground, taxi to Terminal 1, Gate 2B via Charlie 1, Charlie Tango, Sierra. Good day.
So, Charlie 1, Charlie, Tango, Sierra.
1 gate, 2 Bravo, via Charlie 1, Charlie Tango, Sierra, Qatari 055.
Alright, so basically straight ahead, first to the right. Then let's go. Do we have an after landing checklist in this? Don't think we do. No, we don't. Okay. So, the left side is clear and the right side is clear. And as soon as we're on Charlie, which is to the right over here. Maximum wingspan 52. And it's probably because of the fire station over there. And we are far above that. So, yeah, ATC should not have cleared us this way. Let's see, what are we gonna ram? That might actually fit. Interesting. Okay. I'm not gonna complain. Come on, GSX. Gate. Well, 2 Bravo is probably classed as Bravo 2 in here. Or isn't it? Okay, so we actually have no idea how those things are classed because they're not using the correct naming convention. Oh, I love shitty GSX profiles. Okay, well, we're going into 2 Bravo. Which is over there. Oh, let's actually take 12. I want something at the terminal. So, start APU and lights off. We got 3 minutes, shut down engine 2. And then, I don't care, I'm just gonna park over here. Let's see, they probably want us on the dashed line here, since we're a wide body. Okay, so guidance system is inoperative, that's okay. Give me another meter or so, a little bit of thrust. Alright, that's looking okay. Park and brake is set and APU avail. Cabin crew, all doors in park. Alrighty. Okay, so engine's running down, then... Come on, disarm the slides, please. Thank you. And parking checklist. Park and brake our trucks. Brake set. Wing light off. And parking checklist complete. So then, welcome to Nice. I hope you guys have enjoyed the flight. I most certainly did. It was a very, very nice one. Ground power is available as well now, so let's bring it online and shut the APU down. Especially that approach was fun. And look at that. Who needs a guidance system? Parking pretty much on point. Alright, my friends, so thank you very much for watching. As always, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. And if you're up for more, be sure to check in again for the next one. Finally, if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.